Hey bag maker, today I'm going to be talking about new zipper pulls and zipper charms that I've added to the shop, various fabrics that I've added to my stash, announcing the winners of the May challenge and also of the Enigma pouch sew along for week 3, Latifa Safir's Clammy acrylic templates and Clammy quilt pattern. And tonight's bag lab will be how to install cam snaps on a tabletop press. I'm Sarah Lawson from Sew Sweetness. Thanks so much for joining me for Sewcial Sunday, my weekly sewing chat. Hey everyone, welcome to Sewcial Sunday. Thanks so much for joining me for the show. While Danny is getting the comments up and running, my regular spam reminder, if you're a Facebook viewer, I never send private messages over on Facebook, so if you get a private message with an avatar that looks like Sew Sweetness, might be asking for your phone number, credit card information, or to send or wire money in order to claim a prize, please do report or block that. If you're a YouTube viewer and you've left a comment on the show and you see a reply to your comment, again from an avatar that looks to be Sew Sweetness, asking for some of the same information for you to send money, for credit card information, anything like that, please do report and or block that. I always announce the winner's name verbally on the show, and we've also been adding the winner's name to the description of the show in case you'd like to double check that. So I see Kathleen's watching from Michigan, Diana's watching from Virginia, and Michelle is watching from Canada. So a friendly reminder, just about everything that I talk about during Sewcial Sunday are things that I've purchased myself. So these are not things that I'm getting paid to talk to you about, but just cool things that I found that I'd like to share with you. And everything that I'm scheduled to talk about, I link to in the description. So if you're interested in finding out more about any of the books, fabrics, notions, or projects that I talk about during Sewcial Sunday, just check that link in the description and you can find out more information there. So the new zipper pulls that I wanted to show you tonight, as well as the zipper charms, these were originally scheduled for our July new product drop. So they will be in the July newsletter. However, since this is our last live show before the summer break, I wanted to sort of give you a sneak peek and show you what they look like live on the show. So I'll move some of these out of the way. So these are the zipper charms. These are designed by Kathy Holden, and I've gotten some of her previous sewing themed zipper charms in stock in the shop. We actually still have those sewing themed zipper charms, but she came out with some other themed charms. This dog and cat, super cute. They're just single-sided. This one's my favorite out of the new ones. It's words, so quilter, maker, sewist. This one is a bee and a dragonfly, and they're sort of gold outlined, if you will. And then this last one is for our coffee and wine lovers over here, and these are not actual zipper pulls. These have a little lobster clasp, and you can clip onto an already existing zipper, which is nice. You might have a bag that's completely finished that you'd like to add these to. Because of the lobster clasps, you can either add it or take it off as you need to. So these are in the What's New section of the shop. I've linked to that in the description. And a bunch of new zipper pulls. These are number 5 zipper pulls. And we'll have more too by the end of the summer. Danny's going to switch back to the overhead camera. These are my favorite, these safety pin pulls out of the new zipper pulls. Again, these are all number 5s. We carry them in all 6 of the different finishes, and this is actually not a functioning safety pin, it's just decorative, so the safety pin part won't actually open or close. Excuse me. Felt that sneeze coming on. I tried to fight it, but at least it was only one this time. One sneeze. The next new zipper pull is sort of a nice thick bar. This one's called Pelham. I tried to pick sort of random names for a lot of these, what I consider like basics, basic looking pulls. These have a nice weight to them without being too large. These fun pina colada zipper pulls, these are double-sided, so the design's on both sides.
a little tighter.
Thought this one would be fun. Sure you can if you want. This one would be fun to go along with the, actually not tighter, the ice cream pulls that we added recently as well. Here's another basic. Has sort of an opening near the bottom. Hackamore, my mom put the names in there for me. So this one's a little bit different than that other basic that I just showed previously. It's got a hole in it. Again, a nice sturdy pull. I tried to add a lot of basics this time because I feel like the basics seem to be the most popular. This one I really love. It's a winged Pegasus. And again, it's double-sided. This is a nice hefty pull. I think that one's pretty shiny on camera. Let me try to pull out the antique brass so you get a better look at the design. Let's see. This next one is called Bird on Wire. It's a cute little simplistic bird in a circle. Let's see. I've got some fun chameleons next. And then two more. We did have some heart zipper pulls in the shop already, but I really like these hearts. I don't know, they feel pretty substantial. I liked the design too. And then last but not least, another basic. This one's called Mullen. And all of the zipper pulls, I counted them. We almost have 80 different types of zipper pulls and charms in the shop. So we'll be, like I said, we'll be adding more at the end of the summer. But if you're interested in checking out any of the new pulls out after this show, I've linked to the What's New section of the shop in the description. So while you're watching all those zipper pulls and zipper charms, I'm curious if any of those caught your eye, if you had any of those that you thought would be your favorite. Let me know in the comments. I'm curious. Maybe you liked the chameleon, maybe the Pegasus, maybe you liked the coffee and wine lover charms. Let me know in the comments which one was your favorite. So I had an email from Sandy the other day. Soap and Girl wanted to know, these are available next month. They will be in the July newsletter, but they are currently in stock on the website in case you're interested. I wanted to give you sort of the first look, sneak peek on the live show, but they are available in the shop right now, and the link is in the description for the What's New section of the shop, which is the easiest way you can find all of the new stuff that I just showed you. Yes, all of those zipper pulls are number 5 zipper pulls. I added a couple new number 3 zipper pulls a few weeks ago. I think those might still be showing up in the What's New section of the shop as well. But by and large, most of the zipper pulls are number 5s. I had an email from Sandy a few days ago suggesting, because I've done book club book selections in the past, Sandy suggested for over the summer for me to suggest a book to read at your own pace. This particular selection, I won't have a sort of a live book club like I've done in the past. This will just be, you can read at your own pace and there won't be a discussion for it or a free sewing project. But I just wanted to offer an idea for a book that you could read over the summer. It's lightly sewing themed, so the main topic of the book is not sewing. But my friend Stephanie read it and recommended it. It's called Hester. Danny's going to put a picture up on the screen. I've also linked to it in the description. So it's kind of a riff on the Scarlet Letter, if you're familiar with that, with some other topics mixed in. So if you need a book suggestion for the summer, perhaps you're going on a trip or on vacation and want to bring a book or check out a book out of the library, check out Hester. And again, I've linked to that in the description. I have another question for you along the same subject line. What's your favorite book? Let me know in the comments. I haven't been reading a whole lot this year, but I recently started a new book by Kate Morton. She's one of my favorite authors. I'm probably 20% into the book. And I just really love all of her books. And when I saw at the bookstore she had a new one out, I immediately got it on my Kindle. But let me know in the comments what your favorite book is. All right, so new fabric that I've added to my stash. Finally, I started cleaning my sewing room, so it's about almost half clean. Certainly things are up off the floor. I had been keeping a quite large box of fabrics to talk about during Sewcial Sunday. So what I did was I went through the box, I picked out some fabrics to share with you on tonight's show, and the rest of the fabrics I considered done for the year, and I'm just going to go ahead and put them on the comic book boards and put them in the basement because some of these fabrics I've been sitting on for most of the year. So I figured if I haven't talked about them up until this point, I'm sure I'll be buying new fabrics throughout the summer for, you know, the Sewcial Sunday shows after summer. So Danny's going to flip to the overhead camera so I can show you these set of fabrics. Actually, would you mind zooming out, Danny? Thank you very much. Yeah, a little bit more is fine. So this first set of fabrics is from Christy Leah from Quiet Play, and I really like the sort of stitching lines on the black and white fabrics. Love the hexagons. She's got a lot of bright rainbow fabrics in her designs. This one's sort of a one-off. I don't know. I just liked it because of the butterflies. So I picked this one up, and this peach color is not something I would normally reach for, so I wanted to add it to my stash, and I also liked the elements of black and white. This next fabric I thought would be really great for a travel bag because it has maps on it and sort of a watercolor. Let me see if I could open these up a bit. So I thought it would be interesting for maybe an airplane bag, and there's some airplanes on the fabrics too. There's like right here and here. So I thought it would be fun for a travel themed bag. I have a few fabrics from Sarah Watts from her Florida 2 fabric line. Sorry, some of these are a bit wrinkly. As you can see, they've been in the box for the good part of this year. This one's actually, I don't know if you'd call it a panel, but definitely a lot of negative space in this particular print. Let me open it up some more. So I thought this would be good for pouches if you're sort of fussy cutting parts of the design. That's probably what I would use this one for. And my brother's a fisherman, so whenever I see a cool fishing fabric, I try to pick it up. So that's what this one's for over here. I've linked to all of the fabrics in the description. And I saw from last week's show that some of you were asking if I would be coming out with new backpacks, and I do have. I met with a few fabric reps recently, so I do have some great fabric backpacks lined up for the rest of the year. The first of the bunch is coming out next month, which is Tula Pink's Nightshade Deja Vu. Sorry about that. So look for that. Sometime in July. We'll have it in the newsletter as soon as we get it in stock. So recently we wrapped up the May challenge. I wanted to announce, even though I've contacted the winners via email, I wanted to announce the winners' names on the live show. So the May challenge winners were number 43 Susan and number 24 Barbara. And also yesterday we just wrapped up week 3 of the Enigma Pouch Sew Along. And the week 3 winners, which were randomly drawn, were number 28 Christine, number 30 Diane, and number 15 Margot. So congratulations to you 3, and congratulations to everyone that participated. We had 95 entries in the final week of the Enigma Pouch Sew Along. So lots of great projects finished, and I really love seeing the finished works as well as hearing about the enthusiasm over in the Facebook group for your finished makes for that pattern. So thank you so much for participating, and we'll have another sew along later on in the year. The June challenge is still, oh sorry, there's one, Julie says, I loved the Enigma pouch. I'm so happy you were pleased with that project. It's a really fun one to make, and I can see it being a great gift for Christmas or a sew for craft fairs. Jessie says, will you still have the monthly challenges? Great question, Jessie. We will still have the monthly challenges, so look for that in the newsletter. We'll be posting about those every month on social media as well, and each month will be 2 different challenges. So the June challenge is just underway. I've linked to that in the description, and the June challenge is 2 parts. You can either make the Nuthatch organizer from Minikin Season 4, or you can make a So Sweetness project that you've repurposed from another item, such as a button-down blouse, a leather jacket, some old jeans. Repurposed just means you've cut up that fabric and turned it into something else, being a So Sweetness project. And I had a couple questions recently about that second part of the challenge, if the entire project needed to be made in the repurposed fabric. I would say at least a majority of it. If you want to mix in some other elements, such as maybe making straps or handles out of a different fabric than the repurposed fabric that you're using, that's completely fine. It should be clear from looking at the photo, though, that there was some sort of repurposed element in that challenge photo. And if you need any help uploading your photo for the June challenge, feel free to email me. I'm happy to help, or Bronwyn is happy to help also. My email is sarah@sewsweetness.com. Danny's going to put my email address up on the screen. So during our summer break, the only break that we're taking is from the live shows. I'll still be answering emails. We'll still be shipping orders. Everything will still be functioning as normal. The only break is from the live shows. Let's see. Kim says, thumbs up, everyone. Thanks for watching. Oh, 341 watching and not many thumbs up. We do really appreciate the thumbs up or the likes, as well as the subscribe. So thanks so much for doing it. And thank you, Kim. Since I was talking about the summer break, tonight's the last show before the break starts, and we will be returning for the live shows on August 27th. I'll be sure to let you know in the newsletter and on social media when we return for the shows, and I'll just be using this time to work on some new patterns and trying to keep my sewing room clean the best that I can over the summer. Let's see how that works out. All right, so in lieu of the book review for tonight, oh, one more thing before we get over to that. Thank you, Danny. We'd like to invite all of the bag makers to stand proud. Let us know in the comments that you're part of the Sew Sweetness squad. Danny and I really appreciate that you've tuned in to the show, and thank you so much for watching. All right, so I got this new acrylic template.
What time is it?
Not yet, Danny. One more thing. I got this new acrylic template in the mail the other day, and it's probably the biggest acrylic template that I have in my acrylic template stash. It's from Latifa Safir. It's for her Clammy pattern series, and this isn't even the biggest one. There was one bigger than this, but I thought this will be plenty big enough for me. Let me show you one of the patterns that it works with. She has a series of patterns on her website. I'll use the template, and there's lots of different markings on the template so that you can have multiple uses for it, such as actually, let me have Danny switch to the overhead camera. So actually on this template, these are all the different shapes, thank you, that you can cut out using the template. So lots of different options in just a single template. And as you can see, works with her patterns. This was the original. She has several different sizes of the Clammy. This was one of the original sizes that I already had in my stash because I bought it to make this pattern, her Clam quilt, which is much loved, lots of finished quilts on social media. I bought a kit, I think earlier this year, from Pink Door Fabrics, and it was for this quilt variation on this pattern. So you needed this pattern to make the project. So this is the kit that the fabrics that I got in the kit, and I substituted a couple of them. So this was what I was planning on using to make that quilt, but now that I got that bigger template, I'm trying to decide if I should make it in the 10-inch clam, which is the smaller one, or the 16-inch, which obviously I'll be done faster if I make it in the bigger. So I'm trying to decide. I really don't know. I think I might try to make it in the 16-inch so I could at least finish it finally, but I've linked to Latifa's website in the description. I'm not sure if she has any of those super sized Clammies left, but she certainly has it in the regular smaller sizes, which are 6 inches, 8 inches, mine's 10 inches, my smaller one, or 12 inches. My super big one, that one was 16 inches. So check that out if you're interested, and also check out her website for her other patterns using the different shapes from the templates. All right, Danny, are you ready now?
Ready? Wait 1 second.
For Bag Lab.
Okay, so for tonight's Bag Lab, since I've talked about rivets, grommets, all of those things in the past, I wanted to talk about cam snaps, which generally are plastic snaps. I'm going to have Danny switch to the overhead camera. I used in one of the Minikin Season 4 patterns cam snaps for my project, which are these plastic snaps over here. So I wanted to take the chance to talk about the plastic snaps on the show. I've linked to the Cam Snaps website in the description. If you have a tabletop press, they sell the dies for the plastic cam snaps. And I also wanted to talk about the two different post length sizes. I have snaps in my stash that are the regular post length and the long post length. I'm actually going to have Danny zoom. Is this as far as you can zoom in? Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, sorry, my hands look really dry in camera. They're not really dry in person. But this is the back side of the snap, and let me hold them up side by side so you can see. The pink one is the regular length post length, and the green one is the long post length. So you could see it is slightly longer, the green one being the long post length. Oh, sorry, my fingers look really dirty close up. But I wanted to show you the different elements of the dies for this press. Let me actually lay it down on its side so it looks a little bit better on camera. So from this particular set, and again, you'll want to check with cam snaps in case you have a different press, or just to verify the portions of the dies before you purchase. So this part goes in the bottom of the press, and the smooth cap side, which is what this is, with the post on it, is going to rest here. And then it comes with two additional portions that are sort of whitish, yellowish, and kind of rubbery. So one will house the female portion of the snap, and the second one will house the male portion. And they just screw in, so you'll just switch them depending on what snap that you're installing. So I installed, because I felt like there might be some questions about which post length would be appropriate for which thickness, and it depends on the layers of interfacing and fabric. So again, my pink is my regular post length, so I just inserted it through a single piece of foam. Obviously, normally I'd have the fabric on top of it, but for the demonstration I just have foam. And for this piece, with the long post length, which was the green one, I installed it through the foam, as well as this is a piece of quilting cotton with Shapeflex interfacing. Obviously that'll be thicker, so I chose to use the long post length for this. And by the way, Cam Snaps has dozens of different colors, so you can match to whatever project that you have. I'm pretty sure I've purchased just about every color just to have it, in case, in case I might need it. But I wanted to show you on camera how to install, and I guess because the installation is the same for both, I'll just use the pink snaps to install on camera. And you'll want to use your hole punch die on your press. I'm just going to use my awl just for to make the demonstration go by a little bit quicker. I also wanted to mention, if you don't have a tabletop press, Cam Snaps also has handheld presses, so that's an option as well, but I don't have the handheld press since I have my tabletop press. So this portion over here is going to be just dropped in right there in my press. And then I always get not confused, but I never really pay attention to which is which for the male or female. So what I usually like to do is just grab one. So this is the female portion, and what I'll do is I'll just insert it into the die, and so whichever one it goes in, that's the one that'll fit. So the functioning snap side is in your project, it's going to be face up, so when you place it in the die, it's going to be sort of face down into the die, if that makes sense. I'm just going to go ahead and screw that in place. And then you'll also need the side with the prong. I'll leave that to the side for now. So I'm just going to use my awl, and again, you'll just be using your hole punch. I'm going to make a hole through the fabric, and through the back side, I'm just going to go ahead and insert that through the hole. So I usually like to have that in place first, and then I'm going to go ahead and sort of lay the capped piece so that it fits in the bottom portion of the die. Very easy. If you're familiar with your rivet press, just very easy to push down on that. And then that cam snap is installed. So again, really easy to use. You want to think first before making a purchase if you're usually using the snaps with just like a single layer of interfacing in fabric like here, or if you're commonly inserting them through other thicknesses such as like a strap. That'll be probably the long post length for that one. But they do have the two options on their website, and they do have the sets of the dies as well, so you can check those out on the website, and I've linked to that in the description. Danny, were there any questions about the cam snaps while I was doing my demonstration? No? Okay. All right. If you have any questions for me, I'm going to be answering some questions live in just a minute. They can be sewing questions, questions about a notion or tool, bag making questions, or if you have a question about something in my sewing history, feel free to type your questions in the comments right now. Before we get over to the questions, I wanted to announce the winner of last week's giveaway, and last week's giveaway winner is Sarah Harney-Hirsch. So congratulations to Sarah. Again, that was Sarah Harney-Hirsch. Please email me after the show so that I can get you set up with your prize. Danny's going to put my email address up on the screen one more time. It's sarah@sewsweetness.com. Elaine says, would it be possible to label the color on the zippers when they ship? Oh, that's a good comment. Let me talk to my mom and dad tomorrow because they're shipping everything. We'll see what we can do. We'll try to figure something out, put our brains together. Marilee says, would the zipper charms fit on the new safety pin zipper pull? That's a good question. They do fit, but not like on the... Danny, would you mind switching to the overhead camera? They fit, but not on this portion because this is too thick. So they only fit... I don't know. I kind of don't like how that hangs on there. I feel like it needs to be maybe a plain zipper pull, or maybe a zipper pull with just more... Not so thick. See if it works with the heart. No, some of these are going to just be too thick for something like that. So I would think it would work better with like more of a basic, traditional looking zipper pull. That's a good question. Thanks for asking that. Jess says, I'd love to see how you wrap your fabric on a comic book board. My fabric still doesn't look neat when I do it. I actually have a free video on my YouTube channel. You can also find it on my website. If you go to the Sew Sweetness YouTube channel, in the search box there, if you just type in comic book board, that video should come up. Cindy says, do you use SF101 style interfacing when you are using canvas weight fabrics? That's a really good question. So SF101, also known as Pellon Shape Flex. If the pattern calls for the fabric to have shape flex attached to it, generally I will skip the SF101 just because the canvas is a little bit thicker than a quilting cotton, also considered maybe like a decorator weight fabric. So depending on what part of the bag it's for, generally I will skip the SF101 if it's called for to attach to maybe lining fabrics, something like that. Jessie says you could use a larger jump ring. Oh, that's a good suggestion too. Thanks, Jessie. Anna says, do you pre-wash any of your fabrics? That's a good question. I usually don't, just because I'm usually buying high quality quilt shop fabrics and I'm kind of familiar with their shrinkage just because I've taken sort of like a test yard, or you can even use a smaller piece and measure it before you put it in the washing machine and the dryer to see how much exactly it shrinks down. If you're using fabric that you're sort of unsure about the quality, or maybe you got it as a gift and you're not sure because of that, it's never a bad idea to pre-wash, meaning treating the fabric how you would the finished bag. So putting it in the washing machine, putting it in the dryer, and then giving it a good iron. That way you're kind of covering all your bases as far as avoiding any shrinkage in the future. Windless Originals says, wondering how pliable the cork cording you sell. Any thoughts about using some of it to make part of a rope bowl? Thanks, and have a lovely summer break. I don't know if I have any. I don't think I have any in the sewing room. I have not personally seen it used in a rope bowl, although that's not a bad idea. If you have used it, cork cording in a rope bowl, let us know in the comments. Danny will try to look out for that to put it up on the screen. Rachel says, I always assume the Sew Sweetness Squad is some sort of special paid subscription. Is it? That's just sort of like a call out that I use on the live show to sort of, how would you put it, Danny?
Like a call to action.
Call to action, create excitement around our community. So there's no paid subscription or anything like that. Just,
we're in a band together, like a group.
I really adore our community. I think everyone is positive. Everyone in the Facebook group, if you are over on Facebook, is always helpful and constructive rather than being negative. So I really appreciate that from all of our members. Vanessa says, do you use the templates to mark and then cut, or do you use your rotary cutter to cut around? That's a good question. I think that question was about the template. I'm actually going to take it out of the plastic because I think it's a little bit easier to see. Danny, could you switch to the overhead camera one more time? Zoom out, please and thank you. Yeah, so I would just use my rotary cutter for this one. Yeah, it would just go, no edges to get stuck on, and I'm assuming these are registration marks over here, perhaps marking with a pen as directed in the pattern. I haven't made this particular pattern yet, but yeah, I would definitely use my rotary cutter for more exact cutting, so all the pieces would be 100% exact. That's a good question. Anne says, oh my goodness, that is really beautiful. One of my favorite quilt patterns. I like the smaller templates. Are you going to stock them? I'm not going to stock them, but if you're interested, Latifa has them on her website. Also, my friend Vanessa, the Crafty Gemini, I believe she still has those on her website as well because she did a video course on using the Clammy in different projects. So if you're interested in a video course for that particular template or those quilt patterns, check out the Crafty Gemini as well. But they are Latifa Saphir patterns. Lillian says, Sarah, would you know how to make a regulatable strap in a bag that would not have rings on the ends just sewn to the bag? So I would only have a buckle with the bar in the middle. So I actually was thinking about this the other day because I was working on a bag and I sort of wanted to only use for an adjustable strap the slider. And unless I'm missing something, you need to have at least one rectangle. It's not necessary to have a rectangle or some form of hardware on either end, like a D-ring or a triangle ring. I've made bags in the past with an adjustable strap with like a single rectangle, but you sort of need one bit of hardware and on one end so you can sort of thread the strap through and then over and under the slider, if that makes sense. Granted, there's a few ways to make an adjustable strap, and I've done some in the past with like a swivel clip on either end so that they attach and unattach from the bag. But if you've ever made one with only the slider and no other hardware, let me know, because I'm sort of I've been mulling that over and I haven't yet come across a method for skipping any hardware besides the slider. Julie says, if you make a mistake installing snap, how easy is it to remove? Actually, The Cam Snaps website links in the description. I happen to see that they have a removal tool for the Cam Snaps. If you're talking about rivets, I do have in my stash a rivet removal tool from, I think the company was Clumhouse, and I demonstrated that in a video. You can find that on my YouTube channel, in the So Sweetness channel. If you just type in rivet removal tool, that one should come up. So they look to be different because the Cam Snaps are generally plastic and rivets are metal. And I haven't used the Cam Snaps removal tool myself, but the rivet removal tool is super handy because, I mean, how many times are you going to need to remove a rivet? Not that many, but generally when you need to remove it, are the times when you're working on a deadline and the bag has to be finished like yesterday. So it's super helpful to have in your stash. But check that rivet removal tool video out on my YouTube channel. Terry says, what can I use instead of Pell and Peltex in the bottom of a bag? A good alternative, and also maybe slightly easier to deal with just because it's a little thinner, is Decovil Heavy. They're not exactly the same. They're a bit different. I feel like the Peltex is just thicker, maybe a bit more stiffer. So if you need more stiffness, maybe the Peltex would be better. But we do sell both of those interfacings in the shop. We have Decovil Heavy as well as Decovil Light. It's in the interfacing section of the shop. Lulu Flower says, can it hang where the pull attaches? That's a good question. Let me check that out. Actually, it can. So the question was if it can hang where the pull attaches. Danny's going to zoom in just a second. So I clipped it on, I think it seems pretty reasonable to me. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so I just clipped it over here. Yeah, it fits okay. Yeah, I think it looks okay.
Sarah, it's time for a manicure.
Yeah. Since I've been a kid, I always liked to have my nails really short. I think it was from years of playing the piano where I needed to have my nails short to play the piano. And so even to this day, after they grow like not even a quarter of an inch, I just like to cut them down so you can't see the whites of the nails anymore. I don't know why. Margie wants to know, what is the skill level for the Miss Flower water bottle bag? This is one of the projects for Minikin Season 4. I happen to have one over here behind me. So this is the project. This is my water bottle inside. I would say most of the projects are intermediate sewing level. However, because all of the Minikins projects come with a video, I think the projects are all within reach, especially if you work one section at a time and you have the video to sew along with you. But yeah, this is a really fun project, and I saw quite a few people making 3, 4, or even more for gifts for family members, so I thought that was a really great idea. Good question, Diana. Do you use a regular iron to attach your SF-101? So I know there's a bunch of people in the Facebook group that have heat presses to attach their interfacing. I just personally don't have room for a heat press in my sewing room, so I use my iron, which is a Singer Expert Finish iron. I've had that iron since 2013. Other irons that I've used before and I've liked, Panasonic has a cordless iron that I have in my stash, if you prefer a cordless iron. Mini irons, there's several good mini irons. Aliso, is that the name? My brain's failing me right now. It has those irons that you don't need to put up on their side. They just sort of stay down in position, and there's like little legs that kind of hoist them up so they don't burn your fabric or your ironing board. Those are good as well. Black & Decker makes sort of a really basic heavy metal iron. Years ago I tested that iron out. That one's a good one as well, also for getting out wrinkles. So a few good options out there as far as irons go. Suzanne says, when did the live shows begin? That's a good question. I think it was June of 2017, so that would be 6 years now. Good question. Oh, and Vanessa says, if you're a So Sweetness fan, then you're already part of the So Sweetness squad, smiley face. And Wendy says, So Sweetness has the best customer service ever. Thank you very much, Wendy. I really appreciate that. And Carrie says, if you don't want any hardware, you can make a fabric loop to function as the rectangle ring. Oh, that's a good idea, too. I hadn't thought about that. Kathy says, double D-ring method works without other hardware. Double D-ring method. I'm not sure what that is. I'll have to look that up after the show. Oh, I know what you're talking about now. In case of the slider, perhaps? Okay. I'm envisioning like a sort of like a belt, an adjustable belt, where I've seen that in the past. Julie says, I've made several mist flower, found it very easy with the video. Thank you, Julie. Are you calling on the questions, Danny? I apologize if I did not get to your question live. We're not going to have a giveaway tonight just because I wanted to not have it drag on for the announcement of the winner until the, at the end of summer. But as a reminder, we'll be on summer break from Sewcial Sunday only. We'll be back on August 27th, and I'll send a newsletter out and reminders on social media when we return. I just wanted to say, doing this live show for the past 6 years, I really appreciate you tuning in, whether you've been watching from the beginning or a new viewer. I know your time is super valuable. There's I was thinking about this earlier today. There's in this day and age, there's a billion options for your time. Different videos you could watch, TV shows, things on social media you could look at, instructional videos you could watch. So there's so many options for your time, and I really appreciate you tuning into Sewcial Sunday. I really love doing the show. I was telling Danny after the show last week, no matter what my mood is on a Sunday, once showtime hits, it's like electricity in my brain, and I get so excited. I really enjoy putting together the shows and presenting them. And by the end of the show, I just feel like $1,000,000. So thank you for giving that to me for the last 6 years. As an introvert and a quiet person, I just really never thought I'd be presenting things. And even though there's no other people in the room when I'm presenting the video,
Hey.
Well, besides Danny, it's still, I think finally after these past 6 years, I get less and less nervous, but even a year or so ago, I would still get nervous before the show. So I think, I don't know, I guess it was one of those things, whatever I set my mind to, I just had to do it. And this was one of those things. And so thank you for being with me on that journey of kind of learning things about myself and being able to, I think the best thing about presenting Sewcial Sunday is getting to share a love of doing something with other people. There's other people out there that like the same things that I do, and get excited about buying a fabric at the store or getting a new sewing pattern or finishing a project. And as much as Danny humors me, it's not the same excitement as showing a sewing friend hey, look what I just made, and getting their feedback, such as what happens in our Facebook groups. So I really appreciate having the chance to do all those things around my favorite pastime, which is sewing. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for tuning into the show. And Danny and I will see you after the summer break. We'll be back again on August 27th. I hope you have an amazing summer, and happy sewing. Bye, everybody.